Global TV News Express. House of Representatives resume plenary, swears in 3 new members. In business, lawmakers turn attention to fast-growing world of digital finance. On the foreign scene, Gaza head flotilla activist deported, denounced treatment. And in sports, University of Calabar to host NOGA Games. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital. I am Ubon Usoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. The House of Representatives has sworn in 3 new members. They are Omosade Ibenidion from Edo State, Felix Bagudu from Kaduna State, and Mukhtar Rabiu from Jigawa State. The Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, announced the presence of the new members in the Hollow Chamber at the resumption of plenary seating after the Clerk of the House ushered the 3 new APC members into the Green Chamber. It will be recalled that INEC ordered Omosade Ibenidion as the winner of the recent by-elections in Ovia Federal Constituency, who gathered a total of 77,053 votes to emerge the winner. The seat in the National Assembly became vacant in September 2024 after Dennis Idauza, representing Ovia Federal Constituency, emerged as Deputy Governor. Felix Bagudu, who is a replacement for the late Labour Party's Ekene Adams for Chinku Kajuru Federal Constituency, Kaduna State, pulled a total of 84,580 votes to emerge victorious. The third new member, Mukhtar Rabiu, representing Garaki Babura Federal Constituency, pulled 88,449 votes to emerge victorious in the by-elections. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for unity, patriotism, and industrial harmony, warning that the nation's economic recovery could be jeopardized by disunity and unrest. Speaking at the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja, the Vice President, representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, urged all stakeholders to put the countries first. Uyi Agbemofuegbe has the details.
At the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit, themed Building a Prosperous and Inclusive Nigeria by 2030, Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented President Tinubu, delivered a message of resilience and reform, describing Nigeria's economic turnaround as evidence that tough decisions are beginning to yield results. He cautioned against actions that could undermine national stability. Shettima also underscored the need to protect key national assets like the Dangote refinery, which he described as an institution representing Nigeria's capacity for global competitiveness.
To jealously protect, promote, preserve, and project the interests of this great Nigeria. I wish to call for caution, retrospection, and a deeper sense of patriotism from both the labor and the organized private sector in defining and improving the relationship between labor and industry in the interest of maintaining our steadily improving economic fortunes. It's not about holding the whole nation to ransom because of a minor labor dispute.
Vice President Kashim Shettima also revealed that Nigeria's GDP grew by 4.23% in September 2025, while non-oil revenues rose by over 400% compared to last year. He said total revenue collection climbed from 19.9 trillion naira in 2023 to 27.8 trillion naira by August 2025, with foreign reserves now standing at $43 billion. According to him, the nation's debt service to revenue ratio has dropped below 50%, and Nigeria's sovereign credit rating has been upgraded to a stable outlook, reflecting renewed investor confidence.
We are giving priority to agriculture and solid minerals, 2 sectors with great potential to create jobs and strengthen our economy. To move faster, we have entered into partnerships with other countries to bring in modern farming equipment, train our farmers, and expand extension services across the nation. Agriculture is the bedrock of our economy. And for us to have enhanced agricultural output, we have to embrace technology.
On job creation, Shettima announced a $200 billion intervention fund to support small businesses and disclosed that over 440 road projects covering 2,700 kilometers are underway nationwide. The Vice President urged state governments to align with the Renewed Hope agenda, stressing that inclusivity, innovation, and diversification are essential for sustainable growth and shared prosperity. Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigeria's democracy may be on the verge of a major renewal as political leaders, lawmakers, and party representatives met in Abuja to deliberate on far-reaching constitutional amendments. The consultative session, organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review, draws strong calls for credible elections, inclusion, and people-driven constitution. National Assembly correspondent Aniette Patrick now reports.
At the meeting, the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. Yusuf Dantele, represented by his deputy, Dikbo Olayokun, lamented the high cost of elections and called for constitutional provisions to allow political parties to fill vacant seats arising from death or defection without expensive by-elections. He also advocated scrapping state electoral commissions and transferring local government elections to INEC for fairness and transparency.
For us in IPAC, we believe that the State Independent Electoral Commission's CX should be scrapped and vesting the responsibility of conducting all 704 local government areas elections on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Chairman of the House Committee on Constitution Review and Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu emphasized that the ongoing process represents Nigeria's most inclusive constitutional reform efforts yet, with a focus on women representation, strengthening of local governments, and restoration of public confidence in the nation's democracy.
Before us are critical amendment bills that will define the trajectory of our democracy for the next generation. Bills that seek to guarantee women's representation in our legislative houses, ensuring that no Nigerian is excluded from decision-making because of the agenda. Bills that seek to grant financial autonomy to local government so that the councillors and the chairmen elected by your community can deliver.
On his part, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, represented by the Senate Whip Tahir Mogono, called for the creation of special seats for women and strengthening of the judiciary and electoral institutions to sustain the nation's democracy.
When elections fail, trust dies. When justice delays, faith decays. That is why we must renew both our ballots and our benches.
The reserved seats for women was also echoed by the PDP national women leader, Amina Brand, as lawmakers say they aim to deliver a document that reflects the realities of today's Nigeria, one that promotes justice, equity, and the voice of every citizen. Aniette Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
And now to some breaking news. Professor Mahmood Yakubu has concluded his tenure as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. His departure, which comes as the end of his second and final 5-year term, is expected to end in November 2025, has prompted a transition in leadership. Following his stepping down, May Abachumu Mbo, a seasoned legal practitioner and national commissioner of INEC, has taken over affairs of the commission in an acting capacity. She also chairs INEC Legal Services, Clearance and Complaints Commission, LSCCC. Professor Mahmood made the announcement during a meeting with resident electoral commissioners, REX, today. The context of his departure is on his constitutional term limit. He had previously stepped down at the end of his first tenure in November 2020 before being renominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate for a second term. In an emotional charged speech, the outgoing chairman expressed profound gratitude, thanking his staff, the resident electoral commissioners, and all INEC staff for their dedication, commitment, and hard work during leading the electoral body. As part of activities to commemorate the 2025 Customer Care Service Week, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reiterated its commitment to service excellence, transparency, and innovation in public service delivery. Sadiya Yakubu was there for Global Television and now reports.
INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu formally received the Ethiopian delegation, which includes officials from the National Election Board of Ethiopia and the Coalition of Ethiopians for Elections at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Professor Yakubu described the
chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. Yusuf Dantele, represented by his deputy, Dikbo.
Meanwhile, the independent national learning between both countries. Sadiya Yakubu also reports for us.
And our sincere gratitude.
Yakubu formally received the Ethiopian delegation, which includes officials from the National Election Board of Ethiopia and the Coalition of Ethiopians for Elections at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Professor Yakubu described the visit as a timely opportunity to share experiences, adopt best practices, and strengthen democratic processes across the continent.
Today, we are hosting a joint delegation from the National Election Board of Ethiopia and the Coalition of Ethiopian Civil Society Organizations for Elections, representing over 180 civil society organizations. And the joint team is here to exchange ideas and to also understudy the Nigerian electoral process.
Also speaking, Tesfaye Niwi, a representative of the Ethiopian Election Board, lauded the initiative, emphasizing its importance in fostering democratic values and institutional development across Africa.
This visit reflects our shared commitment to advancing democratic governance, credible elections, and institutional excellence across our continent. Allow me to extend our sincere gratitude to GIZ for organizing, coordinating, and supporting this important exchange visit.
The week-long engagement will feature knowledge-sharing sessions, peer-review discussions, and networking opportunities aimed at improving electoral management, voter education, and operational planning. Key stakeholders from both nations were represented at the meeting, underlining the shared commitment to strengthening electoral integrity and democratic governance through cross-border partnership. The exchange visit underscores a growing trend of intra-Africa cooperations in election management, signaling a collective effort to advance democratic consolidation on the continent. Sadiya Yakubu, reporting for Global Television.
The Kaja Youth Empowerment Initiative has celebrated its one-year anniversary, highlighting its commitment to youth development, skills acquisition, and community growth. Our correspondent reports. The anniversary celebration brought together youth leaders, partners, stakeholders to reflect on the impact of the Kaja Youth Empowerment Initiative over the past year. Since its establishment, the organization has focused on equipping young people with entrepreneurial skills, leadership training, and opportunities for self-reliance. The MD CEO of the initiative, Tina King, says our goal is to build confident, skilled, and resourceful young people who can contribute meaningfully to the growth of the nation.
When I visited Nigeria, what I saw on the street corners, Your Excellency, were our children hawking in the streets. Our children hawking in the streets. And that broke me. That drove me to tears. I grew up in this country. Like I said, I left from this country when I was 23. I saw people hawk, but I was never privy to see, I don't know if it's a privilege, but I was never privy to see children hawking during my time of growing up. But that's how KJ came about.
The wife of the former vice president, a special guest of honor during the anniversary celebration in Abuja, said empowering young people is a key to national development, and she is proud of the work Eja is doing.
Some people are running away, and she's trying to come back to come and take care of Nigeria's children. Mrs. Tina King, you have done very well.
Dr. Remy Chukwunyere, the guest lecturer, while speaking, says youth empowerment must go beyond training. It must provide platforms where young people can apply their skills and create value for themselves and the society.
Now, often we think security, especially for government people, is all about guns, buying more guns, equipping the army, increasing the budget. Can you listen? Increasing the defense budget. But unfortunately, the main thing that will bring security is being neglected, which is youth development.
The event also featured fundraising, exhibition, and testimonies from beneficiaries whose life had been transformed through the initiative. Ubong Usoro, reporting for Global Television.
The Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning, in collaboration with the Partnership for Agile Governance and Engagement, has launched a guide to accessing climate finance in Abuja. The event held as a breakout session at the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit aimed to helping Nigerians unlock the trillions of dollars available globally for climate action. Our correspondent now brings reports.
Climate finance is money set aside globally to address the challenges of climate change through mitigation and adaptation measures. Yet, Nigeria has struggled for years to access its fair share of these funds. The concern brought stakeholders together at this launch to chart a new course through the unveiling of a practical guide to accessing climate finance. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, in his keynote titled "Why Nigeria Struggle to Access Climate Finance," emphasized that the major challenge lies in limited institutional readiness, weak proposal development capacity, and fragmented governance systems. He says there is need to align fiscal reforms with climate ambitions.
Embedding climate priorities into public finance management through green budgeting, ensuring federal and states reflect our transition goals. And of course, bankable projects where strengthening capacity at the ministries, agencies, and state levels to prepare investment-ready proposals.
National team leader Pace Ifeanyi Ugoke says the guide is a practical toolkit. It maps out over 90 climate finance sources, including 18 priority funds that are easier to access. It also helps states and businesses understand the process, eligibility, and how to build capacity for successful applications.
The returns is significant, as you can imagine. Investing in climate-smart agriculture, creating jobs, enabling new businesses, stabilizing operations, improving efficiency, driving the green market.
Head of Development Cooperation at the British High Commission, Cynthia Rowe, says the guide supported by United Kingdom through the Partnership for Agile Governance and Engagement is part of efforts to make climate financing more inclusive and accessible across the Nigeria's public and private sector.
For me, I've never really been a fan of the word donor. For me, it's much more about being a partner, and I think we are moving more and more to being an investor. I see our contributions to the Nigerian development team as an investor rather than a donor, so I do like to move away from that language.
The launch is said to mark the beginning of a new era in Nigeria's climate action, one that connects knowledge with access and opportunities with implementation. Ubong Usoro, reporting for Global Television.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Manchester City Stones reveals retirement thoughts after an injury-plagued season. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories. Please stay with us. lawmakers are turning their attention to the fast-growing world of digital finance. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, says the country must urgently create a legal framework to regulate cryptocurrency and point-of-sale operations (POS) to protect citizens and the economy from emerging risk. On the foreign scene, dozens of international activists who joined the Gaza Aid Flotilla have landed in Tunis and Madrid after being deported from Israel. The flotilla, made up of 45 vessels, had set out to breach Israel's blockade and deliver urgently needed aid to Gaza, where the United Nations says the famine has taken a different turn. And in sports, Cross River Governor Basio II has assured that the state is fully prepared and served to host the 2026 edition of the Nigerian University Games Association. He gave the assurance on Tuesday when he led a NOGA delegation and management team of the University of Calabar on an inspection tour of the facilities at the UJS Stadium in Calabar. The governor described Calabar as a youth-friendly, peaceful, conducive, and welcoming city with a serene and green environment that makes it ideal for hosting national and international sporting events. And that's it on Global TV News Express. Before we go, a recap of our top stories. We told you that Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for unity, patriotism, and industrial harmony, warning that the nation's economic recovery could be jeopardized by disunity and unrest. On the foreign scene, we told you that dozens of international activists who joined the Gaza Aid Flotilla have landed in Tunis and Madrid after being deported from Israel. And in sports, Cross River Governor Basio II has assured that the state is fully prepared and served to host the 2026 edition of the Nigerian University Games Association. And that's it on News Express on Global Television. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen. I am Ubon Usoro. Bye for now.